Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Artist and the Thinker podcast. I am Elle Sweets, the artist.
And I am Terrence B., the thinker. And due to some technical difficulties, we have to run some stuff back. So this is what we're doing on this episode. Um, and I always say it's always an opportunity for improvements on the episodes. Me and Sweet both agree on that. So this is just what we're gonna do for this one. So bear with us. We did the sound check, make sure our mic sound nice. And so we're gonna get into it. And Sweets, what's the subject?
So recently, Jubilee did a one Democrat versus 20 Trump supporters. And the featured Democrat was Isaiah Martin. And I think it's safe to say a lot of people felt that he did a great job. He handled himself well and he came with facts. Didn't operate on emotions, but anything that he was saying to them was based on something that actually could be looked up
Mhm,
and fact checked.
for sure.
But one thing I can say that with everyone that he encountered, you saw where a lot of them operate on emotions, and even when they aren't necessarily close to being correct about something, they will still continue to argue it to a point that they were answering their own questions that they were asking him, and even hearing that what they were saying was wrong and agreed. There were a couple who were in agreement, but still was like, no, you're wrong. It's kind of not making sense. But yeah, go ahead, Terrence.
And how this all started is that I was on social media looking at like because I've watched this show before on YouTube with Amanda Seals. She did a phenomenal job, and these were all like conservatives. The one that she did with all black conservatives, and that was a something within itself. But I kept seeing this one about Isaiah, and how he was doing like the snippets that he was because we both follow him on our social medias. And so after seeing that, and I was like, this is on YouTube. So I went and watched it. It's like an hour, 20 minutes. I went and watched it, and I'm sitting here the whole time. I was making the same faces as Isaiah was because I was like, what? How you what are you not comprehending? And so as soon as I watched it and finished it, I send it directly to Sweets. I said, Sweets, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch this. You gotta check this one out. Cause how it starts, I like on both ends that like, you can tell the difference between false respect and an actual respect.
Mhm.
And you saw that with Isaiah. It was an actual respect. Hey, how you doing? Shook their hands, sat down, like how you doing? You know what I'm saying? And they would start. One of the things I think the first person that he started debating with, he was like, yo, I pick these. He was like, according to the information that y'all put out on, I think the subject was something to do with like drone strikes or something like that. And he was like, well, based on your logic and the stuff that we've looked up, it hasn't gone down. It's actually up this percentage. And the dude tried to argue him down. Like
Mhm.
I'm sitting there like, he was like,
And he came with once again, he came with the correct data that yes, um,
if you
Obama might
misread
have had this
something,
amount, but Trump had a overwhelmingly higher amount.
and he was like, if you misread something, okay, I misread it. My bad. Let's run it back. You know what I'm saying? It's as
Mhm,
simple as that. Even if you're in the wrong, you can be like, okay, I misread. It actually speaks more maturity if you can do that.
mhm.
Am I wrong? Because it'd be like, okay, sorry, I misread. Let's run it back. Which some people did do that. But for him to sit there and try to argue it down, and he was like, so just because I still support a president that also did drone strikes. What about yours? Because your president has done double the drone strikes that he has, and yet you still support him. So what's the difference between us? And I'm paraphrasing what he said, but I'm like, that's a good question. Like, what's the difference? If yours not only did drone strikes, but did double the drone strikes that Obama did, what's the difference?
Mhm.
It's not like a
It
legitimate
kind of,
argument. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, it kind of just, so if the argument was trying to say that he was a dangerous president by knowing that you have the current president has did double the amount or a significantly high amount, because I'm be honest, I don't know the correct number, so I don't want to lie. Um, it shows that we can't use that as an example.
Yeah.
Simple and plain. We can't use it as an example. And one thing you mentioned earlier is he was willing to discuss, not argue, not debate, but let's discuss, why do you feel this way? Like,
Yeah.
why do you feel this way? Why do I feel this way? And listening to the black chick get up there and basically say, I am struggling like the next person, and not sit and be like, why, what put me to this position that I'm working almost 3 jobs to survive. And I think one thing is Trump has managed to teach people how to use word soups, how to create a word soup that you, it kind of sounds good, but then you be like, well, what did you say? Confuse you a little bit. Just a whole bunch of just words in a pot.
But if you slow it down
And
and listen, you'd be
they
like,
will say it, and they will regurgitate exactly what he says, and not realize that none of this benefits you if you can go by it. Like, none of it holds any weight when it comes to tax breaks. And that leads me to the next person. But when it comes to the tax laws that we have been under, they last for 8 years. We have been under Trump's tax law since before, when he was president, way back when, all through Biden, and now we have a whole new one.
that's gonna be like what,
And people
15 years?
still will, it's 8 years.
8
People
years? Yeah.
still are blaming everybody but the person who created it. Or if you want to say um whatever. Anyway,
Let me touch on something
the
real quick.
crazy part about it is, hold on, that one guy who started fussing about, well, I lost it because it was so crazy. What was he fussing about? He was
We're gonna get to that. I
saying,
know exactly who you're talking about. But going back to the sister, now, if we look at this based on, I'm trying to give you some time to get, but if we look at the sister and she's
can't
saying,
remember
I
it.
work
Okay.
3 jobs, I was like, you know what? I applaud you because it shows
Hmm.
that you're not lazy. You're willing to get up, get out, and get something for yourself. That's the thing. But if you took a moment to speak and be like, you know what? If I look at my parents that came up in a time
Hmm.
where one full-time job take care of an entire household, pay a
Hmm.
mortgage, and take care of your family off one full-time job. Just one full-time job. And it makes you question, like, now compare that to what you're doing now, where you have to work 3 times as hard as your parents did. And this is not even to get a house. This is just for you to manage rent. Are you really doing better? Are you really, are you really
Yeah.
doing better than you thought? Because let's think
Hmm.
about this. If we compare it to coming up, which like one job, one full-time job, managed your house, managed your family, and took care of your bills. You're working 3 or 4 jobs and you're barely managing rent. Forget trying to
That's
get a house.
crazy.
Managing rent. And so that you would think that she would have stopped and thought for a minute, like,
Oh,
damn,
now I know what guy
for
is.
saying
As soon
that
as you said it,
statement.
now I know.
Yeah, after she said
Now it
that
came to
statement,
me.
after she said that statement, you would think
I mean,
she would be like, damn, well, my parents only came up on one job. I'm doing pretty bad.
not even that part. Just listening to what she said she was going through, what she was experiencing was like, "Baby girl, I don't think you know who's really for you, who is somewhat for you, because we know Democrats are crooks too, but who is semi for you than someone who is completely against you."
Hmm.
And that's what leads to the guy who was arguing about taxing the rich, and he is not
That's
rich.
crazy.
He was getting upset at what not Michelle, sorry, wrong person. What Harris said, what her whole thing was about taxing the rich, and he was so I mean, the way he was offended, and he was willing to fuss and argue with him. I mean, and then what he was saying wasn't even correct. Well, most of the stuff a lot of them were saying weren't correct, but he was fussing so bad. What, like, why would you do that to Rich? How dare you? They hadn't hurt nobody.
And this
But
that's
you
the
are
thing that baffled me because he was sitting there, Isaiah was sitting there looking like, if they have more, look at all the tax breaks they have.
yes, they
And he
should,
was
just
like,
like
now
you
compare
get
that to
taxed.
the taxes that you have to pay. He was like, compare that to the tax you have to pay versus all the tax breaks they get, and they have billions of dollars. We're in the lower class, middle class people and have nothing. And that goes to further show you what this person is about. It's about taking care of that 1% and doesn't care about all of the people. It's not
Mhm,
just about the 1%. You have an entire nation, you have an entire country to look after. And so for you to sit there and have a gripe against me because I say that, hey, rich organizations should have to pay more taxes just as much as us middle class and lower class have to
mhm.
help benefit us all because they're doing their part versus getting all these breaks. And for him to sit there and try to argue
I
this
mean,
into the ground,
he was
I
he
was
was
sitting there
he
like,
was, appalled.
I was like,
He
but
was
then,
appalled
and when you
because he was
asked
like,
him
"How dare
like,
you?
what's
Like,
the issue?
why? It's horrible. How dare you? We don't need to tax the rich. We don't need to.
Why
We
not?
need to be
And
taxed till we can't be taxed anymore
and Isaiah was
because
like, why not? Why not tax the rich? They have it to give. They have it
they're
to
not
give.
going to miss it." And then the fact, because and I think a lot of things people don't realize is a lot of the rich people have their stuff together when it comes to taxes, as they know how to pimp the system. Prime example, Trump knows how to finagle a lot of things when it comes to his taxes. So he has managed to get away with a lot when it came to it. A lot of them are steady writing things off where they don't have to pay for stuff. This is stuff they're not going to miss. That's the crazy part. They're not going to miss it. But instead, you have so many of them who make you think like they're gonna hurt. We're not saying take them down to 0, but you would rather be basically working your butt off and not seeing anything because taxes. Me as a teacher, when I say they be just they be me on some taxes, I'll be like, "Wait a
No,
minute." Like, really, like, "Wait a minute."
y'all
Like,
acting
that's
like
a
I got it to give. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just the
I know. Mhm.
it's crazy. But another thing I wanted to talk about was when he was like, one of them was in the seat and it was like, well, it's not like it's causing a problem. I think the issue was something. He was like, how much money do you think the orange guy has made
Mhm.
during his he was like $3.2 billion. And for you to sit here and say that, well, the Democrats are doing this, they always try to throw it on somebody else. The Democrats are doing this, they getting this and that. And I was like, do you know that for sure? Or are you going off just what this man has told you?
Mhm.
Because going back to what you said earlier, when you was like the word soups, you would think that a person is, you're not just gonna take somebody's word for it, you would go and do the research yourself to get the understanding of what
Mhm.
it actually is. You're not just gonna take somebody's word for it, right? And what I
And that goes
realized
for
was,
left and right. That's the
yeah,
thing. It I think a lot of times people label Democrats as a group of people who we don't try to fact check things when
mhm,
it's clearly the other way around. We fact check so much that we be in disagreements with each other
mhm,
on things more so than Republicans who just fall in line.
yep,
My grandfather was a Republican. I'm supposed to be a Republican, and that's it. I can't go against the grain. You know how
yeah,
many people I have heard say that? Because that is a strong ideology for a lot of hardcore Republicans. Even when we look at, I spoke before about with Jasmine Crockett, how in Texas, by a margin of error, puts her 1 point behind the other guy. And to think about all the Hispanics who live in Texas, that you have some who won't put down their proximity to white, their hierarchy of thinking that we have to vote for the white man, as crazy as it sounds, and misogyny over voting for this black woman. That you have some people who are willing to openly vote for someone who's out to destroy you and deport you and God knows what else.
you wanna know what the
And
crazy
I
thing?
mean, that's the craziness is to be because one thing a lot of those Cubans learned, um, and some Puerto Ricans had to learn that they did not care where you were from. If you were Hispanic, they they not even asking you, show me your flag. Show me what flag you represent since you're Hispanic. So we got to make sure you the good Hispanics. And the same goes for black people who are so hard Trump supporters. Are you a good colored folk? Let me make sure you a good black person. You a good one? I got to check. Nah, they ain't checking for that.
You wanna know what the
They,
crazy thing is as well? Is that when you look at these people out here that are continually supporting this nonsense, which you saw in the actual interview, he's sitting here asking, because a lot of this stuff could be, what I realized looking at these people, a lot of this stuff could be summed up with this right here. Just ask him this. Just be like, what have you gained?
mm-hmm,
You, what have you gained besides representation? What have you gained that has benefited your life and made your life better with him in office?
mm-hmm. That,
Now I'm
and
like,
I
no,
remember
I'm
I
not
said it
talking about
before. I
anybody
said
else.
the only, sorry,
I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm not talking about like party representation. I'm talking about
where did
you
you?
as an individual living in this
Mm-hmm,
country on the representation of that. What have you benefited that has helped your life better yourself? Has bettered you? What have you gained? And I'm talking, forget representation. I'm talking about you as an individual in this country. What have you gained with
mm-hmm.
him being in office? And that right there
Outside of
could have summed up
PPP
a lot.
loans, them no, that's the anybody who got was it a PPP loan?
Yeah, they got that money on.
Those people might have an argument,
Yeah,
but
I
when
give you
it
that.
comes to by everybody else,
Majority, yeah.
if you were not sitting on a nice penny, then it didn't really benefit you. And the fact that you have people who, by statistics, and when you look at um who is considered middle class,
Hmm.
who is considered poor, and who's considered rich, most of America is middle class and really below the like there are a lot of people who are below the poverty line, don't
Yep.
even realize it. But you're voting for someone. You're vote not just him, you're voting for people who are trying to strip everything from you. Like listening to people argue with you with their hate with immigrants and not understand that immigrants are not your problem is
Mhm.
crazy work. And then when you're
Crazy work.
presented with they're taking all of this and that. No, they not. They not.
They're really not.
People who still don't understand what tariffs are. It's like
Eh,
what I won't do is I won't try to argue with anyone because I can't claim to know everything. And I mess up. I make mistakes. I misconfused the flag,
yeah.
Hispanic chick, and baby girl, you still was Hispanic. It don't matter because they ain't checking for your flags. But what I am gonna say, like I said with the drone strikes, I don't know the exact number, but all I know is that number was very high compared to what Obama's was. And it's operating on facts versus our emotions and our feelings about something is one thing. And it has showed that a lot of people, once again, I will say it, the No Child Left Behind shows that it was a failure mission because instead of making sure these kids comprehended and understood things, we just kept pushing them through
Yep.
because some stuff is basic civil civics and economics. Some
Mhm.
things are basic things that you learn in government classes, how policies are made. Heck, there was Saturday morning cartoons that explained to you what a bill was on Capitol Hill. But you have so many people who have failed to do this that they are so wrapped up in a man in a suit with a diaper under it, that they are willing to die on the hill, knowing that he's 1,000% wrong on something. You have not benefited from him, but you have so many people who operate on the sheer hatred that they have for the fact that Obama was president, the fact that Harris was black. Oh, no, she's not black. She's Indian. No, she's not. She's mixed. Whatever you want to call her, because she was a woman. There were so many things. And then we can be honest when it comes to Biden. Biden was old. Biden is old.
Yeah.
Trump and Biden are so close in age, it's pathetic. But his own son came out and said, yeah, my dad, like they used to get him pumped up to go out there and do what he had to do. We're not going to hide that. But also, people don't realize that Biden had a stuttering issue.
Yep.
Ever since he's been in politics, he stuttered. So some of the things that were made to look like he was having a moment was him stuttering and processing his words, and on top of the fact of his age. So we're not going to hide that. And then you got to give him the fact that he knew that he was not fit to try to do another 4 years. But Trump is at a point, and it's crazy because at first we joke, and it seems like we're trying to one up, and we say, "Well, shoot, Donald, he got dementia." Da, 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 da. And some of it could be sarcasm, but no, we have witnessed him have moments, like have sundown moments,
Yeah, like when he got up in
and
the middle of an interview and to look out the window, and I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?"
or not even that. When he started talking about when he was a kid, and he was naming his stuff, and he was looking off, and I'm just like, we already have a lot of people pulling his strings like he is a puppet. Let's be realistic. Like that whole country that starts with an I and ends with an L, and then all the other people like Steve Bannon and all of them, they're pulling the strings, right? The Heritage Foundation. So it's like, you guys have someone that you're pulling strings from that we already know he goes off script. Like y'all can give him something. He still will go off script. I mean, Trump is the one thing I can say that's comical about him, even though he's a horrible individual, is he will look at the script in front of him, talk about the birds. He gets in front of everybody. Let me tell you about that cow that I saw yesterday. Like you'd be like, bruh, talk about the birds. The birds. So we have a loose cannon, and unfortunately, he has brought people out like those 20 Trump supporters who are people who are fueled with MAGA hate. And if you really look deep into what MAGA hate is, that some of the root cause of why you have so many people who are white supremacists, who are people who hate everyone who are not white, their whole premise of hatred stems from the fact that they were handed so many things in this country when they're competing with people who were either enslaved people, indigenous people, or people who migrated here and they were able to climb the ladder. And especially when you look at Black people, African Americans, you look at us who we came here with nothing. We helped build this country. And every time we did create something, it was constantly torn down. It was
or
either
taken.
buried, burnt, or covered with water. It was always destroyed. So we have always constantly had to fight. But yet instead, even though we have fought, there are so many of us that are doing a lot better than a lot of these MAGA white folks that you have that are so enraged. And it's like, how can you? You don't deserve a foot up when you should question, well, how come you have it? And one thing I love about our people is we have learned how to survive. We know
Yeah.
how to survive. We might not fully thrive like the American dream says we are, but we know how to survive. Unlike some people that their whole world was crumbling, falling apart.
Yeah, but what
So,
I want to get back on, I want to get it back to the Isaiah
well, that's
verses
what I'm still,
20.
I mean,
Before,
talking about them, I'm saying when you listen to what old boy was saying, the one who was all up in arms about Obama, his facts, I bet, are solely based on what Trump has said.
yeah, because clearly you could tell when he didn't have the percentages right. And the first argument that he had, he was like, those percentages are not right. And he was like, yes, they are. He was like, no, they're not. And if you looked at the same information that I looked at, you would know that. But going to the woman, and you'll know who I'm talking about when I say this, the woman that was talking about the tariffs. And he was like, just before we go any further, this is what I like about Isaiah. He was like, before we go any further, you do know that tariffs only focuses on raw goods. And he was like, how can we put a tariffs on a place that we don't even we've never done business with? It doesn't make sense to put tariffs on a place that we've never done business with. And so for you to just go and put tariffs on their stuff coming in and double the tariffs for no particular reason,
Remember,
just to
he was
start.
handing things out like tickets
Yeah, and I'm sitting here
in
like,
a line.
you
You
know,
get a tariff, you get a tariff, everybody gets a tariff.
and I'm sitting here like, if you pay attention to history, this is what started the Great Depression. Is you doing this same exact thing, and so there was a reason
Everybody
why
gets a tariff.
there was like nobody really tried to go this route. It's for a reason because if you look at everything now, and for the record, let's pay attention to this. If you look at the tariffs that are coming in, we pay for over 50% of those tariffs. Us
Mhm.
as United States, people of the United States, we pay for over 50% of those tariffs. And do you think they were just going to sit there and allow you to be like, hold up, you throw tariffs on us, we definitely going to do it back to you. What you talking about? Which is why people avoided this and was like, dude, you shouldn't do this tariff war thing. This is what led to the Great Depression.
Like
And so for
I
you,
think he ran off of the fact that he didn't know what a tariff was until he had to start actually trying to put these tariffs in place. He didn't even know.
yeah,
And he's still trying to argue it, and you still got people believing it. It is the
and-
crazy work. But you know what that made me think of? Doge. Remember when he was talking about the
oh
dude who was talking
yeah,
to him about Doge? He was like, "Where the $2,000 checks?"
yep,
Doge Doge managed to cut funding and gut so many things. We just recently had this whole situation with these storms, right? These winter storms.
mhm,
That because we are so short staffed, their predictions were so all over the place, you know. And then when you look at these national parks, you look at all of this funding that was educational things to benefit children. like so many things, and let me not get started on the darn food stamps, EBT, whatever you want to call it, SNAP benefits, all of that. Like so much that you just are like, but why though? I mean, we know why. We know why. But
We
in their
know why.
minds, they thinking that they're just getting all these things that money is going to. And it's like it makes sometimes it does make my head hurt because it's
Yeah.
just like do you kind of understand how some of this stuff works? And then, especially when you're dealing with people who don't realize that a lot of this funding is getting approved by the government. It's not like Democrats are over here signing with magical pens that's giving all of these states this money. And then when you listen to people talking about, oh, they need to get these Democratic states because those Democratic states are the ones who doing all this, and I'm like, let's look at some of those Republican states. Let's
Yeah.
start with Mississippi.
Mhm.
Let's start with Kentucky. Let's
Mhm.
start with some of them. I mean, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, y'all is failing in everything.
Yeah.
Y'all health, all the things that you need. Cutting funding to some of the hospitals when you guys have counties, big old counties in rural areas that have one hospital that is about to shut down, and you're going to have to go almost two counties across, almost a whole nother state line to save your loved one's life is
Yep.
crazy work.
It's crazy work. And like when the lady, you could tell the lady, going back to the one I'm talking about terrorists, she had no clue what she was talking about. Cause he
Mm.
was like, you do know
Something she
terrorists.
heard him say.
Yeah, it was something that you heard him say.
Heard him
And
say.
then, which leads me to the guy that was trying to argue about percentages. And
Mhm.
he was like, well, I know in my county the gas percentages are like $2.80.
Mm.
He was like, yes, but as a nationwide percentage, he did not commit to what he said he was going to do.
Since you
The
believe that he was
nationwide
going to do it,
percentage,
and then not
right, was down
understand how
5%.
gas crises and prices of gas affects the whole world. It's not just America. Like thinking that the president has a little kill switch that he can press and it changes gas prices is a delusion in its own. Okay. If it was that
Absolutely.
easy, we would be back to 158 a gallon,
I know,
which we
right?
will we
That would be
will never
lovely.
see again. If I mean, and that goes for when he said he was going to be the no war president, and he felt like he could go in other countries
And
and
he
tell them,
started
hey,
8th in counting.
but no, but be like, hey, y'all gonna have to stop fighting because I told the people in my country that y'all two countries gonna get it together. Okay, you got me. All right, y'all stop this nonsense. Hug each other and let me go back to my country and say, hey, look, I ended this war.
And
Y'all
then
see what
we
I
were
did?
like, who the fuck are you?
If you don't get your raggedy old behind somewhere, like we dealing with people in other countries, like in a way. And then don't get me started on Israel and Palestine. How you got people who will fuss at Democrats for something that Republicans are doing. It's crazy.
It's
It's
crazy
crazy.
work. And going back to the guy who was like trying to argue about the percentages, and he's sitting there like, but on a national scale, it
Hmm.
only went down 5%. This man did not come through on what he said. That's all he
Yeah.
was trying to say. He was like, but it still went down 5%. And it was like, yeah, but that's not helping the nation on a national level. It's not helping. And that 5%
And
that
he
you're
doesn't think
talking
he just
about
said
is a
5%.
natural like decline and upcline. That 5% that you're
Right.
talking about is not
Like
something
right
that
now,
it's
gas
something that
prices are
happens.
down. So right now, given the fact that we are in the month of February, gas prices are down. Gas prices are always typically down in the winter months because people don't do as much traveling. But when it
Exactly.
comes to the summer, best believe, baby, Them babies, they about to get you. They about to hit them tanks.
Four, five
Okay.
dollars.
Now, not only is that going to happen, but depending on the chaos going on in these places and other countries does hold a big factor on our gas as well. So, I mean, there's so many factors that you have to realize that you guys are arguing on things that he said that he could deliver, he could promise that out of his control. It's
Yeah.
out of his control. And unfortunately, like, and let me not, I was about to get started on Greenland. Let me not get started on
Stop.
because he
Please
over here
don't.
talking about
Please
he gonna
don't.
get him $10,000.
Please don't. Please don't. Don't.
So I know because I get sidetracked, but to really sum things up, no matter what your affiliation is, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you have to give him his props. He did a good job at coming with facts and really trying to discuss these things with um all the people that he did have the back and forth exchange with.
And you want to know
And
something that I liked about him? He held people to task. He didn't allow them to pivot because if you watch,
he
if y'all
did,
go back
yep,
and
that
watch
is
the
true.
thing, he held them to task. He would just keep repeating. He was like, "Did you get the $2,000 in Doge? I,
But did you?
did you get the 2,000 in Doge?" And he kept holding them to task, which is something that you could clearly see that they did not like. That he was like, "No, we're not gonna pivot. You're gonna stay right here and on this one subject right here. We're gonna focus on this. Don't go left field. No, we're staying. You're gonna stay right there." And I loved that he held them to task, and I love that he did not allow them to just try to pivot off of a subject to get them out of it, because he was like, "I get it. You're uncomfortable, and you realize that the only reason you're trying to pivot is because you know that it's not going to go your way. So you keep trying to pivot, but no, I'm going to hold you to task on this." And
Mhm.
that's something that I hope that he continues to push, and that he could, because we need people like him that are going to hold people to task and not allow them, and hold you to actual facts, not just hearsay, not just something that a person said, but hold them to actual facts and numbers that are
Yep.
here. And so
Show
I
us the
love,
Carfax, people. Show us the Carfax.
yeah, I love that he was like, "No, I'm going to hold you to task on what I'm talking about."
Mhm.
And you could tell they got uncomfortable, because you could tell that clearly they didn't know what the hell they were talking about as people. And so the brother will have my vote if he ever decides to get back into the field again. The brother will have my vote. If I can get
I
somewhere
mean,
where he at, I mean, you'll have my support. I can't.
no, not
I'm in North
Texas.
Carolina, so I can't get to Texas or where
Not
you was at.
yeah.
So I'm
Now,
like,
I like
"Look,
you, but I don't
brother,
like you enough to go to
I don't like
Texas.
you. I
Okay.
like you, but I don't like you enough to go to jail. But you got my support, and I hope that
Yeah, not Texas.
that brother
This ain't Texas.
continues to keep fighting the good fight and hold them to task, because that's what speaks more volumes
Mhm.
in this world to people like us. That's what speaks more volume to us, is people that hold them to task and not allow them to use their word soups and stuff like that. He's like, "No, you're gonna have to give me facts in order to combat what I'm saying. You're gonna have to come
Mhm.
with the facts, the car facts," as my L Sweet said. You're gonna have to show us the facts. You can't just
Show me
say
the
spit out.
Carfax, baby.
You can't
Show me the
you can't just
Carfax.
spit out anything and think that we're gonna go for it. It's not gonna work. That's not how this works here. And we need more people like him.
Mhm.
We need
I
more
a
people
thousand
like him.
percent agree.
Him,
We
Jasmine
do.
Crockett, we need all of them, because they gonna hold you to task. They're gonna be like, no. You gonna have to give us the actual facts about this, not hearsay or what other people are saying. Do a little research, and you will probably be in agreement with us. Which you saw in it, a lot of the people were in agreement with him on a lot of subjects. And it was like, it's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with it. It just shows that, like, hey, I get your point of view. And so I think a lot of people at the end of this that were in that circle had to rethink some things. They ain't gonna say it out loud, but they rethought some things on the low.
We know we got
You could
people who were
tell.
down to you.
You could
But
tell.
I think on that note, um, this is something that I think a lot of Gen Z um need to see because he's
Yeah.
only 27 years old and he's holding his own.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good example for up and coming politicians, up and coming, I mean, just youth in general to see someone hold people accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, me being a millennial, you being a millennial,
Mm-hmm.
that was something we enjoy because he speak. I was like, bro, you sure you got one of
Yeah, I was like,
you
you
know?
not one of us. You sure? Okay.
You know, and it's something that a lot of us millennials understand as well as young Gen Xers that can really appreciate what he's doing. That's why I hope more voices like his are heard. What's the guy? Young black guy, he's got locks. He's on a podcast. You send me a lot of his stuff. Um,
I'm trying to
he's
think.
young and he hits it on the nail too. He has a little bit more of a potty mouth, but he does hit it on the nail with things. We'll dive into it and we'll get his name. But I do think what he's doing just as much as Isaiah is doing is what we need.
Yeah.
And that's why I said no matter and I mean, even if you are Republican, it's one thing to be a part of a party that you come with your facts of, hey, this is why I am the way I am. This is why I believe this is tried and true. That is one thing. But if you're going to come with things that are just regurgitated soup of words, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's all I got.
I believe that to Isaiah, keep fighting the good fight, man. And if you do decide to get back in that ring and step in that square, stick to your guns, man, because you on the right path. And this is also showing an example for your generation that you represent, Gen X, is that it shows that, like, hey, we can carry this on. We can
Mhm.
change the narrative. We have the power to do it. We are not kids anymore. We have the power to get in here and speak our truth and speak it based on facts, not just hearsay and not just what somebody else says. We come with the
Mhm.
facts. And if you keep inspiring that, that's going to inspire them to, like, okay, we can't just say anything and throw it out there anymore. We're going to have to come with some actual facts to back this up. So, brother, keep fighting the good fight and continue to hold them to task and not allowing them to pivot or try to bob and weave out of it. Brother, you keep fighting the good fight and you'll have our support from North Carolina. We ain't going to get arrested, but you'll have our support over here in North
Sure.
Carolina. But that's as far as it goes.
Uh, but I will say on that note, this has been the Artist and Thinker podcast.
Peace.